teamrtfc.baconicecream.com.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. This is Rich Haywood here from Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC. We're coming at you with a studio setup video, kind of a behind-the-scenes / backstage look at what we do, what equipment we're using, what kind of setup methods we do here in the studio for all of our various productions. And I know that there's been some people that have asked about these things, like how are you setting them up, and we've seen the comments. So I figured we'd put together a little video for you and take you through everything that we do. I know that this content might be a little bit drier than usual, so if it's not your cup of tea, no problem. Come on in, check us out on our next gameplay video, our next Fun Friday. Check us out on our tournament videos, and we'll see you. We'll see you on the other side. But if this is exactly what you're looking for, come on in and we'll get real deep into what we're actually doing and what we have set up here. So, jumping right in, our general setup. We use a pretty large space. The studio is basically the lower level of my home. We have about a 30 by 10 area in which we have all of our things. But if you were to try to replicate this in your home or in your place of business or wherever you want to do your content creation, about a 10 by 10 area is kind of what I would recommend, like minimum, for setting up all of this equipment you're about to see. Because anything smaller than that and you're just not going to be able to fit anything in, or it'll be detrimental to you actually sitting around and trying to do anything inside of that room with all this equipment around you. Of course, our podcast is, or video show, I should say, is a 2-person production. So we have, of course, 2 chairs. We got a square card table because what we're doing here is playing Transformers TCG most of the time. We've got our square 2-player playmat, table for the laptop, which is off screen on this picture, and a table for the mixer that this microphone is connected to right now is also off picture. We're going to see that in just a second. So let's go and check us out on the next slide. We've got our player set up here. We've got a regular chair. Of course, we were just talking about that. We've got a Logitech 922X Pro webcam. That's the player camera. There's 2 of them, one for each player. We've got a 25-inch FlexDraw clip camera mount that actually just clips to the actual table, and it's bendable, so you can put it in any shape you'd like. Get it out of your legs, out of the way of your legs, so you're not bumping into it, that kind of thing. And we have it centered, looking at our custom wooden card holders, which is the next item that we use in all of our shoots. So that way you guys can see what's in our hand as we're playing all of our cards and that kind of thing. So that's where we're pretty much at, like that. This is what it looks on the other side, the other player. This is the Eric side of the table. The first picture was the me side of the table, but it's pretty much the same. You've got your camera, you've got your mount, you've got your card holder, and that kind of thing. So that's pretty much it for the players. We'll move on to the main view setup. Now this picture is of the camera that looks straight down at the playmat, and then this is the main view, the biggest box in our setup when you're watching our videos. This is a Logitech Brio 4K webcam. It's got a FlexDraw clip mount, which also is a adjustable mount. You can put them in any direction. You can change the angle. You can do anything like you need. We were using a ESDDI umbrella light stand for most of the productions that you've seen, including the one where we took it to Target and there was a little bouncy action in those videos. We were sorry about that, but we have a little asterisk saying that will change soon. Actually, as of this recording, that has already changed. We are using a different type of stand, which is a lot more sturdy, but you'll see all about that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on to our main audio setup. We use a Behringer Xenix X 1204 USB mixer. This is an oldie but a goodie. This thing has been around since Bacon Ice Cream Productions has been a thing. That's going all the way back to 2007, 2008. So this mixer has been through some stuff, but it is kind of tried and true. Behringer's a great audio mixing brand. So I can highly recommend any of their newer products or any of these older products if you can find them like on eBay or something like that. If this is something that you're interested in as far as audio production goes, this is technically an 8-channel mixer that we use. There's obviously only 2 of us that talk, so we only use 2 of those channels. In that picture, you can see the 2 microphones in there. But if we wanted to get crazy with it and mix in some extra audio and that kind of thing outside of what we normally do as far as our sound effects and stuff like that go, you'll see that a little bit later. We can put in an MP3 player. We can put in something that if we were going to mix in direct audio from, say, like a VCR or something like that, we were doing some like crazy old stuff, or even just a CD player or a audio receiver of some other kind, we can actually just mix that in there too. And this mixer is pretty cool because it has like the ability to do some voice effects and sound effects and stuff like that to layer over before it even hits the computer, which is kind of cool. I don't know if anyone else has caught it, but we did a commentary video, and the very first one that we did about the latest Target tournament, the Energon qualifier, my voice was a very ethereal. That was because the VFX dial on my channel was actually turned just a hair, and I didn't catch it until post. But I thought it was okay, so we just left it. It actually just beat re-recording the entire episode. But yeah, that's pretty much that. And then I use Sony MDR 7506 Studio headphones, the studio monitors, for those kind of testing things. I actually did not hear myself in that test when we did the last episode, so those headphones didn't really work out for me that time. But anyway, we use them for checking audio before every show and that kind of stuff. And if I'm in a bigger place, like say when we were out at Target, I actually use them for listening to the microphones because it was so loud in that room. I just wanted to make sure that I had the levels okay so that people could hear people talk when they were sitting at the table. We had a pretty unique way of setting the microphones up, which I think we're going to do on every shoot that we do. It's just that we're going to double check that we have a backup for recording audio when we're out and about, because it was actually an issue because we wound up losing all of the main audio for that episode, hence the commentaries that you've been seeing in those Energon qualifier videos. It's a little tidbit about that. So we'll go through to the main streaming setup now. We'll keep moving on. I use a Lenovo Legion Y520 laptop. It's my daily driver for personal use and work use. It's got an Intel Core i7 processor, 16 gigs RAM, 256 gig SSD, and a 2 terabyte hard drive. We've got an NVIDIA 1050 Ti graphics card in there. We also, behind the machine, we have a 4-port USB 3 hub that has all of the cameras but one plugged into it. The Stream Deck, which we're going to talk about in a second, my mouse, and the audio mixer itself, they're all routed into that 4-port hub. The 4K camera is direct to the machine, and one of the other cameras actually is the third port on my laptop. My laptop has 3 USB ports. This Y520 has those. I use Adobe Creative Cloud for generating all of our graphics. We did all of the overlays in Adobe Photoshop. The logo, the Team RTFC logo, all of the lower thirds, everything that used to be basically is created in in Photoshop. And this video that you're watching right now was mixed down in Premiere and put up. And anything that we do recording rather than just live to YouTube, we always use Premiere. It's something that I learned when I was in school. I have a small bit of background. I am a video and audio producer by hobby, but I do have some professional training background as well. I spent about 1.5 years at the Art Institute of Philadelphia and learned some video production skills there, up to and including television studio video production, which was pretty cool. It was a fun time. But I kind of hold on to those skills and shake off the rust every once in a while to do our little productions here, and it's kind of fun. And then of course we have that blue cable in the in the pictures, our wired internet connection. I've got a FiOS gigabit pipe here at the house, so we always use wired connections to try to make sure that there's no frame drops or anything like that. And as some may have seen, there has been some times where our videos are like super solid, and then there are some that they're not as solid. I actually found out that the one thing I haven't talked about yet, which is our streaming software, we use OBS for this all of our streams. That software has some very delicate settings in which you have to make sure that you're setting everything very just so, or you could actually have bad, like you could have your equipment getting in the way and the software getting in the way of your production, even though you have everything set up correctly. So it's very recommended to look up some stuff on YouTube or Google about OBS if you're starting to do the streaming live thing, to make sure that you have all of your kind of ducks in a row. And we're still learning here, so we actually don't have everything completely set. So it's definitely a learning curve. But with the advent of new technology comes the chance to learn some more. So we're going to dig in as soon as we have the opportunity to do so. But anyway, that's pretty much what we use. OBS is also the key to all of the fun things that we do when we do our gameplay videos. The transitions go through OBS. All of the sound effects that you hear, the transformation sound effects, they all go through OBS, and they're all pre-programmed with another little helper tool, which you'll see right here. Going into our streaming setup continued, the Elgato Stream Deck. We have the 15-button model. We have customized pre-programmed buttons, as you see right in that little picture there. You got the Autobot symbol for the Autobot player. You got the Decepticon symbol for the Decepticon player. Our combo players, which we actually don't really use right now. And then I did set up some which actually have no overlays, which we haven't used yet, but we may in the future. These are all different scenes. These buttons correlate to scenes inside of OBS. Those who use OBS might know what I'm talking about. But if you want me to go into more detail about OBS and do a little actual maybe live setup video to show you guys what's going on, please hit us up in the comments, and I'd be happy to do another video getting deep into what you do with OBS and Stream Deck, and how you program the macros and all that kind of stuff. I'd be happy to do that. But each one of those buttons is a pre-programmed macro that does, when I hit the Decepticon symbol, you see the 80s, Generation 1 Autobot to Decepticon, or Decepticon to Autobot transition, where that changes that overlay. That button, basically, you hit the button, it plays the video, and then forces the next scene to load, is what the macro does. And then down below on the bottom left, you see those little play buttons. Those are actually just the sound effects. So you hit the button and just the sound plays. Then in the bottom right, there's actually, I don't know if you guys can actually see it clearly, but the button says go live. That's actually our start and stop of stream command. There's a macro for actually, physically starting the stream. I've actually not used that too much in most of the videos. If you see them early when we do a live stream, you'll see me at the computer hitting a button instead of actually using the Stream Deck, because I found actually it's easier to start the stream on one device and then actually start the live YouTube stream on a different device. It actually saves some resources on the computer that we're using, so it can make everything a little bit smoother. So just getting a little bit into the weeds on that one, but that's pretty much what we do for that. And we'll go ahead and move on so we can keep this kind of short. We got our player audio set up next. This picture is of the Eric angle here. There is a Nady PCM 100 condenser mic in that picture, that silver guy right there. We got a Dragon Pad 6-inch mic pop filter. Those are good for making sure that your P's and T's and very hard consonant sounds don't wind up creating too much of a problem in your audio, because if you spoke too harshly into one of these style microphones, you might actually clip, in which case you would lose that part of the audio, so you'd sound all jittery and like broken up and that kind of stuff. It's no good. Then we use a the brand is Hola or Ola Music. That's the name brand, but it's a weighted mic stand. You can get them on Amazon. And also, by the way, all of these things that you see here, I'm going to put links to the Amazon items inside of the Amazon store. I'm going to put them in the show notes for this particular show. So that way, if you guys want to check them out, go through, click on them, maybe even pick up some of the stuff on your own, feel free to do so. And again, I'm happy to help to, do recommendations, or if you guys say like, oh, hey, do you like this thing, or do you wish you got something different? I'd be happy to, give opinions and that kind of stuff too. But anyway, these weighted mic stands are pretty great. We actually are using a third weighted mic stand, which actually looks like this when it's on the floor. You can see the bigger picture there. We are actually now using one of these weighted mic stands for the camera, for that 4K camera we were talking about earlier. It is way more solid and way more stable. So even if there was a minor bump of either the stand or the table, it actually stabilizes quite nicely. If anyone was looking at the target video from the Energon qualifier, there's a couple times where that happens, but it does stabilize quite nicely, and you can actually see that reaction. It's much better than that other umbrella stand that we were using, because there's too much play in the umbrella stand. So it just the cameras kept bouncing. So anyway, speaking of all that kind of stuff, we'll move on to the next part, which is actually viewer interaction. I thought it was the lights, but we're just going to go on to viewer interaction next. So we've got an extra laptop for running our chat. Use an HP old laptop that I've had just kind of for forever. I just blew it away, put in a small SSD on it, running Windows 10. Got nothing on it but Chrome, and that's all we use it for. We load Chrome, we load YouTube, we load our own video, pop open the chat, and put that right on, if you look on the right, the 50-inch Vizio TV that's sitting directly next to the table that we sit at, so we can use that for reading the chat. And is actually the device that I'm using right now to go through these slides with you guys. I'm actually sitting at my station using my microphone, just looking right at the slides along with you guys, which is actually pretty cool. I might actually use this for other videos that I'm thinking about doing about some like Transformers lore and from other things that I'm finding cool that are tangentially related or directly related to Transformers TCG. So that's pretty cool. So we'll move on to the next, and we've got here's our lighting setup. This is the umbrella mic when it's the umbrella diffuser, I should say, when it's fully opened. We use one of those in every one of our shoots that does have a 85 watt bulb behind it. This is the DDI 85 watt lighting kit. It is all together. All the stuff that you're about to see is all together in one box that you can get on Amazon. And I'll put that link in there. So we've got the 33-inch, excuse me, umbrella diffuser. We've got 28-inch softbox diffusers. They look like this. The light stands, they're all the same. They're 26 to 80-inch high. So depending upon which environment you choose to set up your studio, you could actually have the lights higher, lower, whatever you choose. And the stands are actually really durable, and they do support the weight of the softbox, the umbrella diffuser, and each one of them having the bulbs without actually worrying about them tilting over or anything like that. So both softboxes and the umbrella diffuser, of course, are always on when we're doing our videos to make sure that we're filling the room with enough light. Angle is a huge importance. I know that I've seen some comments out on the Facebook groups and some of them even on YouTube about glare, because of course you want to protect your cards when you're playing, so you got them in those top loaders. If you have anything that is overhead, directly over the lens of the video camera that you're using, or at the same angle as if it was to be directly behind the lens of the camera, you're not going to see much on the mat. On the play mat, you're just going to see a whole bunch of glare, because that's going to bounce right back into the aperture of the camera, and you're going to lose everything. So what you want to do is you want to get light, and you want it to be bright enough, but you want that light to be diffused. So that's, of course, why we're using the soft boxes and the umbrella. But you also want that light spread out enough where it's far enough away from the table where you're not going to catch the actual thing that's shining the light, i.e. the soft boxes or those umbrellas, or an incandescent bulb, for example. If you're just doing this in your home and you just use what you've got, if you've got a regular lamp, you want it to be bright enough to fill the room with way more light than you think is needed, but not so close to the table where you can actually see and you can do that by like kind of leaning over and checking the card holders. If you kind of lean to the left and lean to the right, if you see that, oh, I can actually see the reflection of a light, well, if you can see it, the camera can see it, and that's going to mean that you're going to have glare in your shot. Believe me, it is one of the roughest things to do, is getting lighting right in any kind of setup, especially when it's not actually a studio. So it's just trial and error. But for those that are trying to hone that skill, the best thing to do is, like I said, you get enough bright light, you get it softened, you get it diffused, and you get it as far away from the place you're shooting as possible, because that way you're reducing the risk of that light being reflected back into the aperture of the camera. So that's pretty much that. And as we are closing this out, I'll show you a big wide shot, and like the one that we started with, of the studio itself. And this is pretty much what it looks like to be standing right in between those lights that you just saw in the last picture. You know, we've got our computer there, we got the other computer for the fanner interaction, we got the television, we got our cameras, the old umbrella stand that we were using for that 4K, and all the rest. The microphones and all that stuff. So that's pretty much what we do for our studio setup here at Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC. I do appreciate you guys sticking around. If you guys are still with me watching the video, please feel free to ask more questions. Anything that I haven't answered for you, I'll be happy to do so, either in the comments, or if you feel that you want me to actually dive deeper into a specific thing, please put that in the comments too, and I'll be happy to create another video for you guys later, and we'll just get in deep and kind of check things out. I'd love to help more content creators kind of hone their skills, especially if they have an interest in actually doing video production, because even though it is just a hobby for me, I do have a passion for doing it, and I like experimenting and trying different types of creation. So, hit me up and I'll be happy to help. So anyway, to bring this to the close, please, like I said, again, hit us up in the comments, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, of course. If you like us doing these off Transformers TCG or Tangent related stuff, please put that in the comments too and say, hey, you know what? Let's get some more of that. And we'll be happy to make some more of that content for you too. But until next time, I'm Rich. This is Team RTFC and Bacon Ice Cream Productions, and we will see you next time. Take it easy, guys.
Team RTFC.baconicecream.com